Hey, welcome to another episode of the Critical Beard
Podcast, episode 3.
We made
it all the way to 3.
All the way to 3. Who knows how far we can go?
We might even get past 5 this time.
There's never a chance that will happen.
we get to 5 and then we reboot again. It's a
our episode 5 is like Rockstar's 27. You know, if you make it past 27, then you're probably gonna live a while.
Oh, but, I get it.
Yeah.
I thought you meant the game studio Rockstar. I'm like,
oh, I always think about games, you nerd.
Well, this is a gaming podcast.
This is nerd.
Yeah. Idiot.
His glasses on too, nerd. What a nerd. So what's on today's docket, Mr. Meatball?
We're gonna cover some news first.
Nudes.
Gonna get some please send news. Hashtag please send news. It's on our Twitter account that we don't have.
Tweets.
We're just going to go through some news. I know it's been probably like a week and a half, probably since our last episode. So
this will be probably our first official sort of real Critical Beer podcast where we sort of just dive into some news, talk about what we're playing, and then have like a little bit of a concept topic. Instead of just talking about Final Fantasy VII for like 4 hours.
I mean, I could continue doing that.
Oh, we already have off camera multiple times. And another thing.
There's another theory that I saw, though. We'll talk about that later. To World Maker, which I'm so happy. I haven't got to mess with it yet, but I mean, I wanted that for now. I can make a whole Mario world.
You can make a whole new world. Somebody from Disney should write a song about that.
Little Mermaid themed Mario levels.
That's an Aladdin song, sir. So how dare you?
First of all,
same thing.
It's all the same.
It's the same movie.
All right.
They both take place in the ocean. They both take place in.
I hope my wife doesn't hear this.
In the Middle East. How
do you know Little Mermaid didn't take place in like
Saudi Arabia?
The red. That's okay.
Yeah.
But I think it's cool. I haven't got to mess with it yet, but I'm a big Mario Maker fan.
Yeah, So I had Mario Maker and I had some fun with it. You and me both made some levels. We played each other's levels and that was fun. And then I kind of ran, it just sort of like my interest level sort of went down. And then they came out with the Link thing, the Zelda stuff. So I rebought the damn game on Mario Day because it was I kind of sold it. And then I rebought it, and then I played all the Zelda stuff.
Did you sell it again?
And then I sold it again, and then they did this, and I'm like, I'm going to off myself. Like
you're a fool. Because
Nintendo basically abandoned like Mario Odyssey, and I felt like this, like the Link
thing.
What do you mean abandoned?
It's a full game.
No, I mean
Mario.
I'm talking about post content.
Oh, who cares about DLC for like a Mario game? I want more.
You're literally talking about DLC.
No. This isn't a Mario game. This is a Mario Maker game. If any Mario game deserves to have DLC, it's a Mario Maker game where they constantly push new ways to create stuff. You know what I mean?
No,
I'd rather they do that.
If anything needs DLC, it's Mario Party, and they haven't done anything for that.
Mario Party sucks.
It does suck. Controversial opinion. I absolutely don't like Mario Party.
I don't get it. It's a board game. I hate board games. I'm sorry.
We can just pull out a board game and pay and play it, and it doesn't cost $60.
Okay, the mini games are pretty cool, but anyway.
Yeah, there's a few like peppered in there. There's fun mini games, but then overall, you can't really play it by yourself. Like it's not really.
Unless you're a crazy person.
It was fun. Like when it first came out on 64, like that first Mario Party, it was like, oh, this is
wasn't a lot like
cool. And then it was like, now we're at Mario Party 1000, and it's
the exact same. It's still slow as hell. It's a board game. Like,
so
make
slow.
it efficient to play. It's a board game. Like,
I think
you can do anything you want with it.
I played a game of Risk that was faster than Mario Party. Anyways, yeah, but I'm looking forward to this. I'm going to buy it again, and Nintendo's going to get my money for the third time. It's fine. I'm just supporting Nintendo in this trial.
$180. Cha-ching.
I got it cheap on Mario Day. The second time I bought it was only $30.
What is Mario Day anyway?
Should I just digitally download this stupid fucking game?
So you never have to get rid of it? I do that. See, that's why I digitally download games, because especially if it's a game that I know that I'm going to want forever, because it stops me from being like, I'm going to sell it. Like, if I know it's something that like I want to keep, it's like almost the opposite of like what you think a digital game should do. When you think about a digital game, you're like, oh, you're buying it because you don't care about it. And it's like, no, I buy it digitally because I know that I'm never going to be able to get rid of it.
Yeah,
it'll be with me forever.
It's forever in there, and I actually the first like AAA game I digitally downloaded on launch was Witcher 3, because I really like that was one of those games where I'm like, this game's gonna be 1,000 hours. I'm never gonna want to sell it, and I'm going to sell it if I have a physical copy, and then I'm gonna be pissed off because I sold it. But at the same time, I do try to keep physical.
I'm lazy.
Copies. But I really do, because I do love looking at my shelf.
I'm an ex-collector, so I don't care anymore.
Collector X.
Oh, ooh. Is that a spinoff of Mega Man?
Yeah. It's the new one. What other news we have?
Well, apparently the PS5 launch games are going to be announced June 2nd.
What?
So
that's like a month away.
That's like a month away. And I honestly, I haven't looked. I don't know much about these new. I know they haven't released a lot of information about about PS5, but I don't really know. I don't know anything about them.
We don't know anything other than what the controller looks like and what it does.
Because it looks a lot like the Xbox controller, and the Xbox controller is great.
I like that they still stuck with the lateral joystick.
I can do either. I can do like asymmetric or lateral. It doesn't matter to me.
I'm one of those few people that like. There's this huge argument on the internet, and you hand me a controller, and if it has lateral joysticks, I go cool, and if it has the
asymmetrical ones,
yeah, I'm like cool. Yeah, it's like I really don't. Yeah. I don't have much of an opinion. Yeah. I really like. Here's my opinion. You know what I really like? I like the Switch Pro controller. I like the Xbox One controller, and I like the PS4 controller.
Yeah,
I like all of them.
I think we've gotten to the level of just controllers are comfortable. Everything after that is just like being picky, right?
They've done so much research on these things, and people are just like, I can't stand Xbox, and I have to with those PlayStation to do it. I can't do it, and I'm like, just why?
Like, dude, I mean, I don't want to sound like a retro hipster, but like, dude, the original NES controller, I've burned like that shape is burned into my hand.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. But the Xbox One controller is super comfortable. It's the most comfortable controller I've ever held. It's so nice.
I actually would say that I think my favorite controller that I've ever held is the Switch Pro controller. I don't know. It's just a little. It's pretty much the same fucking controller as the Xbox.
I like just the standard Switch Joy-Cons. Because I can lay on the couch or on the bed and just like, I can play game. I can play games in really awkward positions, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. I think the launch games. I think definitely Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
That's what we're going to talk about here in a second, I imagine. Ladies and gentlemen, I have not seen this docket, so I have no idea. Okay, I'm on the other side of this thing. That's the first no-brainer. The second one is the unannounced remake by Blue Point Studios.
Oh yes, they've been working on some mysterious remake, right?
And it's supposed to be bigger than the Shadow of the Colossus remake, and I can't imagine what the hell that even means.
Yeah, right. Like in scale and popularity. Like what are we talking about?
And they said it's a reimagining. It's not even like a direct remake. It's going to be more like Final Fantasy VII remake. So the only thing I can think of off the top of my head is, are they going to do like a reimagining of Demon Souls? Are they going to, but in my head, I'm like, is that bigger than Shadow of the Colossus? I don't think so. I mean, the only thing I can think of is Metal Gear, because Blue Point's worked on Metal Gear.
I would be so happy if this is getting to the main topic.
We won't stay too long on that one, but I'm just saying Blue Point's thing that we can speculate on for forever could come out. But Blue Point has previously worked on Uncharted. They've worked on remasters. They worked on Metal Gear remasters. They worked on both Shadow of the Colossus remasters. I can't remember what else.
They know their stuff.
They are an amazing studio. Yeah. So, anyways, speaking of remakes, we'll get to that in a second. Yeah. What else we got, bud?
Let's see.
What else we got, buddy?
The Final Fantasy VII remake. The Ultimania. Do you know what an Ultimanias are?
They're like book.
They're like lore Bibles that Squaresoft or Square Enix. I still call them Squaresoft sometimes. Square Enix releases. It's so sad. And there were some interviews in there, and they talked about, they're interviewing Nomura and Katase, I think the other co-director, and they're I don't know, some Japanese name, and they were talking about like the future of these remakes, and they still don't really know like how many it's going to be. They don't know, how long these games are going to be.
Yeah, and Nomura is officially not involved.
He's not in the sequel. Yeah,
which is, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because I'm like, okay, they set up some wacky shit with this new one, so I almost want him to show me where this is going. Yeah. At the same time, I also don't think he ever knows where anything is going, anyways. So maybe it doesn't matter.
He's definitely like a backloaded. Yeah, he writes in a backloaded way. Like he just kind of like makes stuff up as he goes, which I kind of like that kind of writing if it's done well.
It's kind of like the George Lucas approach, right? Because it's like he's really good at coming up with characters, backgrounds, ideas, and atmosphere,
setting,
and a world, and then it's like, but he has no idea where he's going with it. And so if you let the kid run with the ball, you're gonna end up somewhere.
The other co-director is still on board. He did the Final Fantasy 13 games, which you can tell like pretty much. The Final Fantasy VII remake is pretty much like Final Fantasy 13-3 / Final Fantasy VII. Like,
you mean 13-4?
Yeah, like it seriously is, because it carries almost the same kind of theming, and like it's just like this is 13.
It's a lot cleaner. And I don't know if I'd use the word cleaner. It's a lot, because 13's clean. There's nothing not clean about it. It's actually a lot more. It's just more satisfying, I guess. It's just got a better. It
feels more complete.
Yeah, it feels more hands-on. Like it feels like more of a video game. 13 felt more like I just sit here and that was the
13 won, but the sequel's got a lot
different. More stuff. But the first game is.
I didn't like the second one.
The first game was like. It was like not only did the battle system sort of play itself, and so there wasn't even a whole lot of.
I would defend 13.
You can go back and forth on it, but it's still like the battle system did sort of play itself. You would set it kind of up, but like it kind of played itself more than others.
That about 12.
Well, but 12 was kind of the point. Like 12 was like setting up all your AI. It was almost like either lean in this way or lean over here. And 13, a lot of 13 felt like. It was dead center.
I liked the feeling of like it felt like when I did we're just going off topic, but the whenever I was fighting in 13, especially like some of the boss battles, like I felt like I was like it was almost like I was like composing the symphony of archetypes. Like I'd be like, oh, this thing happened. Now I have to change to, Commando Ravager support, and like, oh no, this changed to support, and then one Ravager, and like you had to constantly change with. I don't know. I liked it. They made the combat system a lot better by the third one, but the story got dumber and dumber and dumber and dumber.
I actually like the combat in Lightning Returns, but
because no one knows what the future will hold. Boop, 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 boop.
We'll see. We'll see. We can only hope.
Let's see. Two leaks. Two big leaks. I guess the biggest one. I looked at both the leaks. I don't want anything spoiled for me. But it was Last of Us Part 2 and GTA 6 got some leakage too. Now we know for sure that Last of Us 2 is like that's an actual like that's a real leak. We don't know if
we won't be
GTA 6 is like
that here. By the way, just
have you looked at any of the?
No.
I figured you weren't because you're a big Last of Us fan.
Well, so. here's my thing is I actually got the ending of The Last of Us 1 spoiled for me, which I don't get a lot of things spoiled for me. I'm pretty good at not, but like it was one of those things. And when reading it, they were talking about things like apparently from whatever this leak is, which again I don't know and you do know, but some people are really really mad about this leak. And I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about it. They were like, these leaks out of context don't even mean anything because you don't even know what the context is. And it's like, and I actually can put that to the test because I actually got the first game spoiled for me when I read the leak, the spoiler. Here, real quick, everyone, I'm about to spoil the ending of The Last of Us 1. If you have not played The Last of Us right now, I don't know why you're even fucking like watching a ridiculously niche podcast about video games. But what I read, okay, we're going to spoil it. And then I'm going to hold my hand up when you can come back. Okay. When the spoiler, okay. Or I'm going to put my hand back down. Hands up. Spoiler time. Okay. So what I read was, Joel turns crazy because they try to take Ellie's brain and he kills everyone.
It sounds so absurd, right?
In this medical facility and turns into a bad guy and then lies to her and that's the end of the game. And I was like, that's bullshit. There's no way
that's no way that's gonna happen.
Out of context, that's a bad ending. That's a bad ending. Terrible. But then I played it and it's a great ending.
It's such a great ending.
It's great. So that's the funny thing. It's like out of context, that ending was terrible.
Yeah, that is
in
true.
In context, it was great. So
especially for like a narrative heavy game, like a narrative heavy game like Last of Us. Like it's all about context. It's all about context.
No more spoilers. Come back, people. I think in a lot of things, like if you could read highlights for the ending of like BioShock 1 or Infinite, and you'd be like, what? But it's like that's not the point because you have no build up. You have nothing around it. You're just literally reading words that are like, so and so's mom.
This character did that.
Yeah. Somebody blows up somebody's house. So anyways,
the thing about
big leaks.
There are apparently Sony and Naughty Dog. I don't know if it's just I don't know if it's Sony or Naughty Dog or both parties, but they're like copyright talking about the leaks themselves. I don't agree with that at all.
So they're saying that it's a violation, like even if you and I are talking about it.
No. Like talking about the leaks, like saying the leaks.
Yeah. So just that's a violation.
Yeah, you can get. Yeah.
No.
Like guys, I'm sorry. You're whoever it is, Sony or Naughty Dog. You're not helping your PR, man. Like everyone will hate you for doing this. So if anyone out there is watching Sony and Naughty Dog,
I say Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog.
No, I see what because that's the name of the. See, that's why we keep you around.
That's why I'm here for the lights to keep them on.
Oh boy.
What do we got?
Yeah, I guess we'll talk about Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Everyone was like, "This is going to be called Assassin's Creed Ragnarok." I know it. I'm like, they're not going to call it Ragnarok. It's Thor Ragnarok, and it's just
it'll be too on the nose, man.
There's too much Ragnarok out there, and I was like, I literally said I was like, they're probably going to call it Valhalla because that's the next most recognizable word from Norse mythology. That's not a person or a god or whatever. I was right. It wasn't hard to be right about that.
Yeah, right.
I mean, what else are they going to call it?
Assassin's Creed, Yggdrasil.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed, Odin's Revenge.
Yes. Odin's Wrath. Odin's Wrath sounds kind of awesome, actually.
Actually, I would totally play Odin's Wrath.
Hire us, Ubisoft.
So after watching that trailer, lots of Viking shit. Again, it's a CG trailer. It doesn't really mean anything.
I'm almost never impressed by an Assassin's Creed game.
So here's my thing. So I actually think that the last one, Odyssey, was the best one they've ever done because it was what they did was they minimized all the Assassin's Creediness,
the shit that everyone just got sick of because it was just complicated fluff,
and they made it just a big ass, basically
a fun game,
basically an Elder Scrolls game. I mean, it's basically. I mean, you could just like wear whatever armor you wanted, and I literally took screenshots of that game and showed them to somebody, and they're like, "Dude, is that like a Skyrim mod?" And I was like, "No, this is just Assassin's Creed, like Odyssey. Like this is just literally like the game." So I heard a lot of people talking about it. They're like, at this point, like, why are they even making these Assassin's Creed games? Why not just call it like Ubisoft?
Well, I know why. We all know why.
Well, yeah, it's the brand
name recognition. Yeah,
and it's but at this point, that name almost carries.
It's almost counter. Yeah, it's almost counterintuitive.
Because what do people love doing in these games? They love going to random historical settings and just doing whatever the hell they want. What they don't like doing is being funneled down some weird linear path while you're talking to an NPC about the animus.
Don't remind me. We talked about that last time.
The animus.
The follow NPC, let them talk for 4 minutes scene.
Yeah,
I cannot wait till that's over as like a narrative trope.
That's why I loved Black Flag so much, because it was the first one where they were like the narrative was like nothing. The narrative was you were just a fucking pirate, and it was like they didn't do all this extra shit, and they were just like, just be a pirate, go be a pirate, and you were like, cool. And then like 20 hours later, they'd like pull you back in the animus. They'd be like, oh yeah, that's right. And then you're like in an office for like 20 seconds, and then they're like, okay, go back to the ship, and you're like, okay, cool. And it's like, why is this even a thing anymore?
Yeah.
Maybe
they'll just straight up phased out. Maybe the next one.
I would just play Ubisoft's Vikings, Ubisoft's Samurais, Ubisoft's fucking Knights or whatever.
Because it's like at this point, it's like Ubisoft, like air quotes, italics. Ubisoft is a genre in itself at this point, pretty much.
Yeah, 100%.
So they could make just like Ubisoft's blah, blah. Like they don't.
That's why I'm saying that, because you know what you're getting. Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, like
it's all the same. It's all the same. Just one's in first person, one's not. Let's be honest.
Even Starlink, dude. Even Starlink is very much an Assassin's Creed game, even though that's a third person ship game where you're flying through planets. You're still like fulfilling overworld side quests.
Yeah,
and then
I still want to play that. I still want to play that.
I got the.
I think it's on sale. I see your butt crack.
Thanks, man. I actually wanted to show off my butt crack. You see, this was I have not opened this yet.
Why would you? But it's it's the digital, like the complete digital with like all the DLC is like on sale on Switch almost all the time for like super cheap. One of these days I'm gonna pull the trigger because
I am
pretty solid like third person.
You absolutely should buy it digital, because if you buy it digital, you don't have to worry about the toys.
Yeah.
I just got the physical because I like
the R-Wing. Come on, it's not
the R-Wing. Yeah, exactly.
That's why if they didn't do that, if they didn't partner with Nintendo, no one would have. I don't know if no one would have, but it would have been a different reception altogether.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. It would have been. Yeah, it would have been so much better. But yeah, definitely buy it digital, because that's the way to go. And it is a fun, it's just a fun, stupid
that year. What was that, like 2 years ago? Did it come out? Right?
3.
Maybe 3. That was the same year that Mario and Rabbids came out too.
It was 2017.
Yeah, that was a weird year for Ubisoft because they got real close to Nintendo and they
It
were
was an
like, let's make weird
amazing.
Nintendo games.
That is, I still think that is the best year for video games of
Since 2013.
this decade. I don't know. I think of this decade. I mean, 2017 was Breath of the Wild.
Luigi. I gotta say,
Breath of the Wild, Horizon Zero Dawn, Persona 5, Nier Automata, Assassin's Creed Origins, Wolfenstein 2, Mario Odyssey, fucking Mario Rabbids, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Starlink or whatever, because I remember that now. There's a bunch of other great games that year, but like that was such a great year. I mean, just if you take just Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, Nier Automata, and Persona 5, which are like 4 of the greatest games ever made by anyone, that's crazy. Anyways, I love that year. I love it.
2013 is better. Year Luigi. Hashtag.
Wrong. Hashtag wrong.
Yeah, says the person wearing a Mario hat. Okay.
Oh, yeah, because I'm not a Luigi fan, bitch. Yeah.
Shut up. I will drive by you and slow down and stare the hell out of you, dude.
How dare you? Luigi stare.
The death stare. God dang it. That's great.
I love it.
So, yeah, I'm glad that people are happy, even though I haven't heard a lot of, like, woo, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. But, I mean,
I like
people will buy it.
It was an open world, like ridiculous, fun, and there's actually a lot of things that because I played Odyssey alongside Red Dead 2, and I know you and me are gonna disagree heavily about this, but Red Dead 2 had this extreme clunkiness to it that was definitely purposeful, but
everything had a weight. Everything had a weight.
Checking pockets and getting on your horse and going through cabinets and things like that.
That's a Rockstar kind of thing, though.
It was just like, oh my god! Like sometimes you were like, I just want to loot these bodies for the love of God. I don't want to just sit here and loot through and like going from that to Assassin's Creed. Of course, you notice that the polish is slightly less there, but what was there is this like you could literally ride your horse and like pick up a plant at the same time. You were literally like riding and just like looting shit as you're riding your horse. I was just like, it's so much more convenient, and it just like it felt so much like a game. So much more of a momentum filled experience.
Because I love narrative in games. Like narrative's kind of the main reason I play games. Like the gaming part is pretty much like honestly I could just watch cutscenes of a great video game and be happy.
Man, you should play Hideo Kojima games.
How do you spell that?
HYS.
But like I know what you mean because even in like The Witcher where you're like running and you're trying to grab plants and Geralt kind of like stumbles a little bit when you're trying to pick up plants and it's just like some things should just be gamified. Like some things should just I don't care about realism. I care about
actually, it's pretty easy to grab plants in The Witcher because you literally just press a button and it's picked. It's like there's no animation for it.
No. Geralt like slows down for a second. He kind of stumbles.
I mean, if you are stopping running and picking it up, yeah. But I mean, you can be running and pick up something without stopping.
No. Mm-hmm. Don't test me on this, Robin.
I played this game 2 days ago. But anyways,
regardless, like how like Red Dead 2, where like it's realistic, but I'm sorry, but like I don't
pick a flower.
Yeah, like I don't care about realism in games. I care about are they fun, are they believable, are they fun? That's it. Like that's it. That's 3 years.
But of course, Red Dead's story was like 300 times better than Odyssey's story. But that's not why you play an Assassin's Creed game.
It's true. You pay it for the game. That's one thing about Ubisoft. Like,
is their games are fun.
They know how to. They know. Yeah, it's repetitive, but like they know how to gamify the gaming experience of just go here, do things. Go here, do things. Go here, do things.
Never are they like, okay, this isn't a game. This is an experience.
This is a narrative experience that you
like. It's a fucking game, and just go play it. I love it in Odyssey. Like it's this historical game, but because they don't give a shit anymore, they just like you can just like put fire magic on your weapons. Like and they just don't care anymore.
Well, isn't the lore is like it's all simulation, right? Isn't the lore that like
yeah, it's
I don't know. I don't know the lore too well.
Yes, it is.
But
it's a simulation or whatever. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense because it's a simulation. But and then they add in like there's like side quests where you can like
stuff in it.
You can fight minotaurs and cyclopses and stuff. And they say that those are glitches in the Animus. That's why you can do that. Just give us a fucking just say it. Just do it.
Just do it already.
That's Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Soon. Valhalla.
Holiday.
All right. So that's the news. I guess we'll talk about what you playing. What you playing, Cardinal?
We should record a What You Playing song. What you playing? Yeah, what you playing? Yeah. Ooh.
Man, he should be in a band.
What? I'll never.
I refuse.
I'll never.
I'm a one-man band like Dick Van Dyke.
So I be playing a lot of stuff, and so I'm in full remake mode right now because I'm still dabbling a little in 7. I'm kind of flying around back. Even though I had this weird like less positive reaction to it than most, I still had this weird feeling like I wanted to go back.
I feel like you had a pretty positive.
I really liked
compared to other people. Some people I've seen
there's some people who are saying it's like the best Square RPG since like Kingdom Hearts or whatever. I don't know, which I don't know. Anyways, that's weird.
I'll probably agree with that.
I still think I don't know. Anyways, it's a whole other conversation. But so I'm still dabbling in Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm still playing Persona 5 Royal, which in its own way is a remake of itself because they changed everything.
Like a definitive edition.
It is, but there's like over like 300 changes. It's like there's so many things changed in it. Like even tweaks to the battle system, tweaks to your character leveling up, tweaks to all this stuff. It really does. It takes a game that was a 9 out of 10 and makes it a 10 out of 10, which it like didn't need to
11?
Do. Almost because some people agree that the original game was the Breath of the Wild of RPGs. It was the quintessential JRPG, and Royal really does just nail that. I mean, it's like they were already there. They didn't need to do this, and then they were just like, no, we're gonna do this, and it's like, oh, now it's a fucking 11 out of 10 or whatever. It's like now it's
geez, Atlas. What are you doing with your time?
it's absolutely insane. See, that's my problem. I think I was playing that alongside Final Fantasy VII Remake, and because Persona 5 is absolute and Royal is absolutely perfect. Every little thing I had problems with. I had problems with the dungeon pacing in the original, and they changed all that up. Now you have a fucking grappling hook. Now the dungeons are reworked to not feel like slogs. They're reworked to feel like way smoother experiences. They go faster. They just aren't as like sloggy, and you like I said, you level up quicker. There's all kinds of crazy. They added new enemies, new personas, like tons of new personas. They added like HP Lovecraft personas, like fucking Cthulhu, like a whole like area of personas that are like tentacle-y and shit. And they added an entire new chapter, tons of stuff, and so it's like playing that game. That game is a flawless experience. I honestly, there is like literally no flaws in that game, which is crazy. And then going to something that's so snappy and quick and flawless and just smooth and beautiful and buttery to some things like the Final Fantasy VII R, which in some ways is an 8 or a 9, but it's like there's it made me see these shortcomings so much easier than if I feel like I wish I would have never played Persona 5 before. Anyway, so playing that's fantastic. And then playing another remake called Trials of Mana. That's the one I put the most time into. I'm about 11 hours in.
So you're still pretty close. You're still pretty fresh into it.
Yeah, it's about a 30-ish hour game.
Yeah.
So it's about as long as Final Fantasy VII Remake, and from what I've read, anyways. But so far it's really good. It's funny. It's a remake of a classic game.
Classic game we never
from
got.
the 90s, made by Squaresoft. And it couldn't be more different from Final Fantasy VII Remake than, like, it's like they should be like almost the same thing. They're both action RPGs.
Yeah, that's really funny. But yeah, because like the Senketsu series like started action RPGs pretty much. Like, like Kingdom. I think the first Kingdom Hearts was pretty much like based off of the like programming for Senketsu 3. Like,
yeah,
they're like siblings. It all kind of grew out of there, and then Final Fantasy VII R's kind of offshoots off of Kingdom Hearts. It's like you think they'd be cousins.
So this game is it's so the original was a top-down action RPG, which is like one of the first action RPGs where you would actually they basically took the Legend of Zelda and Final Fantasy and made a game, and you're running around, you hit enemies and you level up, and it's real time. It's not turn based, and that really wasn't much. There wasn't anything like that back then, I don't think.
No, really.
That was pretty much the first one.
Next to like Zelda and like all the Zelda clones that came out.
But this was one where you actually leveled up. You had
there was no
you had party members. You had weapons that you could switch between.
Actual RPG elements.
This was a full-on RPG. So this time, this is the remake of that, which takes the camera, pans it, or puts it behind your back. They revamp the battle system.
Does it play like Ys?
Yes, yes. like
that's Ys.
If I had to compare. If I had to compare this to a game, it would be Ys 8, which is also a fantastic RPG that didn't get enough love.
Dude, Ys has gotten a lot more love than it ever has.
Yeah, it's definitely. At least in the West. So I still think Ys 8 might be a stronger game than Trials of Mana, but they're very similar. Ys 8 had some of the best music. Like that game, the combat was crazy awesome and it rocked. They did rework the combat so where now you can do like air. So there's this cool thing in this remake, right? There's a jump button.
What? A jump button in an action RPG?
Yeah, they put it.
Final Fantasy.
So there's these aerial enemies in the game, and to get to them, you have to jump and attack them. Hold on, I don't know. There's this other game I played recently that they didn't put a jump button in. But yeah, anyways, so they did rework the combat system. It's a lot more fast and fluid. You don't have to wait for this meter to build up, like you did in the originals. You still get to choose your origin character and then and then like you literally go through the whole game. This is a shot-for-shot remake. The only big difference is the combat system. I mean, the level design is the same. I mean, cool. The dialogue is unchanged. Even the dialogue is unchanged.
I played the original one, like a fan translation, like on an emulator, like 10 years ago. I don't remember much about it, except that the music was freaking amazing.
Yes.
Like,
that one track.
That's all I really remember.
that one track, which is like the track where you're like maybe sneaking into a castle and then you're discovered and then you have to go through the rest of the castle as you're discovered. It's that kind of music.
Yeah.
Because it's not boss music. It's not,
it's action escape music.
It's actually the action escape music is so good in that game. It's a track I sent you and it's like that track is so good. It's so fucking badass. But yeah, the music's great and the reworked audio is they didn't even do like Final Fantasy VII R, they full orchestral soundtrack, whereas they very much stayed faithful. They did they bumped the basses up and stuff like that, but they still kept the heart of the like chip tune alive. It still almost feels like
do they have an optional
at any point you can
switch back?
Oh. Yeah, at any point.
Listen, every remaster, port, remake, make that an option.
This is, so the battle system is great, the music is great, the character designs are really cool, and once you get to the point where you can change your class and you can actually like change your what you look like and stuff, is really cool. I picked the guy I always pick.
The main guy?
Yeah. Why do I always forget his name? Fuck. The main, and then I picked Kevin the Beast.
The main character.
Kevin the Beast Man and Kevin.
I'm sorry, but it's like Kevin the Beast Man.
Yeah, and he has a corgi named Carl. Kevin has a corgi named Carl. Just think of that. And then I picked the Reese, she's the Valkyrie. She has like the halberd and everything. So, or the spear or whatever.
Valkyrie.
So that's my team. I'm really loving it. So the bad parts are the voice acting is not great, but it's whatever. What were you expecting?
Yeah, honestly, when it comes to like JRPGs, kind of
an
Japanese games in
SNES,
general,
an SNES remade JRPG.
Yeah, especially with like a remake of an SNES game, like you kind of want like kitschy kind of cheesy dialogue almost to an extent. You know what I mean? Like I don't want it. I wouldn't want it to feel like a freaking Criterion amazing Shakespearean piece of work. Like I want it to be fun and kitschy.
Did you play the Secret of Mana remake?
No. Wait, no. I did play a little bit of it when it came out on Android like years back.
The remake? Like the
yeah. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the remake of the first game that they made on Android years and years back. But no, I haven't played the second one. It gets confusing.
Yes.
There's 3 Seiken Setsu games.
Legends, and then
it gets confusing. Yes, but I didn't play the second one.
The remake of the Secret of Mana, which was on SNES. To be clear, this one, Trials of Mana, was Seiken Densetsu 3, which
why do they all have to be named? It's like Final Fantasy's Legend is Seiken Densetsu 1, Secret of Mana is Seiken Densetsu 2, and this remake of Seiken Densetsu 3 that we never got is called Trials of Mana.
Yeah. Yep. So, anyways,
sorry, I had to lay that out.
It's a lot of fun. It's straight up. That's just what it is. It's just fun. It's like I said, this is a tried and true remake. This is like in the vein. It kind of reminds me of the ones they did for the 3DS or the DS, the Final Fantasy ones, like 3 and 4 or whatever, where they were chibi. It's kind of a step up from that, but it's so Final Fantasy 7 remake is like 3 tiers above Trials of Mana. And then,
in terms of like fidelity,
like, in terms of like graphics, and because the other thing, the graphics here are not like anything to write home about. Nobody's going to be like, oh my god, look at these graphics.
But it looks really colorful and fun, and like the designs look cool. The designs look the designs look very faithful to like the original like Japanese illustrations. Which is
the
nice.
Flaws are just that it is so faithful to the original that it's like you're like, this is SNES game design 101, where I'm going through the same area
here.
And that's the problem with that game, is it's like they're like, go over here, and there's like 3 towns that you go to like a million times. And the problem here is, this is where I credit things like Final Fantasy VII R, where they do take all these creative liberties, and they didn't here. They were like, we want to be so faithful, and it was almost like, just make this city like look a little more different. Like you made them look exactly the same like they did in the SNES version, but like here you can make this city like look weird or creepier.
This is like a weird ethos of Square Enix. I've noticed ever since they merged with Enix, because I mean after Sakaguchi left in 2002 or whatever, Square started doing their thing that they've been doing for the past 20 years of just trying to be as different as possible every time they make a Final Fantasy game. You know what I mean? Like not like every time they make a Final Fantasy game, they throw out all tradition and they go, let's make something incredibly new, which is fine. That's cool. And then they fuse with Enix, and it seems like they split into 2 like camps. Now like they're either making like super ultra traditional like the Dragon, like the Dragon Quest, or this remake, and then they have this other wing that's just Final Fantasy VII R is like the perfect, like we could have done a remake, but no, we're doing a remake.
It's like alternate timelines all happening at the same time. It's like what if Square Enix made a studio together and then made this game, and this game, and this game, and you're like, they did all that.
It's kind of infuriating at times, but like sometimes I wish they would just make like I don't know. So basically, Trials of Mana's weaknesses are Final Fantasy VII's strengths, and Final Fantasy VII's weaknesses are Trials of Mana's strengths. And it's almost like if you guys would just talk to each other. Yeah,
Oh, hey,
it's like
maybe add a
it's like
jump
they're
button.
it's like
Oh, hey,
with every
maybe add some
breath,
more.
like with every breath, they're breathing with a different lung. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
just breathe with both.
Yeah,
Just breathe
it's like
with both.
if those teams would have just met up and been like, "Hey guys, add a jump button." Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey guys, diversify your environments. Oh, cool. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. And then it's like,
That's the thing with like older companies, especially Japanese companies. They have a very strong traditionalist roots when it comes to business style, and they don't like if they find something that's worked in the past, they just won't. Like same thing like with Nintendo, they'll never change. Nintendo will never change. Square Enix never change. This is just forever what they're gonna do, and that's just the way it is.
And I think so. Here's my thing. And so I'm also playing Resident Evil 3 remake.
So many games.
And then that's also good, and that's also a remake that also takes liberties. That's also not our shot for shot remake, but in a lot of ways, it's really good. I think it's very surprising how this.
I heard it's super short.
It's very short, but that's fine because here's the thing. Here's the goddamn kicker, right? Here's what's out to play. I got a Switch and a PS4. What's out to play right now? What can we play right now? Well, you can play Persona 5 Royal. That's 1,000 hours long. You can play Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is 40 hours long. You can play Trials of Mana, which is another 40-hour long fucking game. You can play, Animal Crossing right now, which is never fucking ends.
And a forever game.
You can play a game that at least is only like 5 or 6 hours.
See, I am
maybe it's not worth $60 for that, but it comes with a multiplayer component, which is actually kind of fun. It's a asymmetrical kind of Friday the 13th kind of style.
I saw
multiplayer,
that.
which is it's fun in bursts. I think it'll ramp up once it gets patched a little bit. It's like one of those things. I was trying to play. I was trying to get a code for Predator Hunting Grounds before this episode. I've heard lots of mixed results on this one.
I've heard above average, which is pretty, because it's the same developers that did Friday the 13th, and I've heard this launch is a lot smoother than the launch of Friday the 13th, and I've heard it's net positive in terms of so far content quality.
Most people are like, it's a mess, but it's really fun.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. That's all that matters.
Yeah,
just give me something that's fun.
So anyway, that's what I've been playing. A lot of remakes, a lot of shit. Kind of a lot of stuff to balance. What you playing?
Well, mine's not I don't have an extensive list like you.
You don't have to. That's what's good about the Critical Beard podcast on the Cardinal and Meatball Show.
Well, I started Crisis Core. I've been playing that a little bit.
PSP brought out the old the PISP.
Yeah, brought up my old PSP.
She looks good.
Yeah, it's in good shape. I keep her in this nice little felt pouch. Keep it all nice and.
I wish you kept me in a felt pouch.
Emotionally, I do. So I've been playing that. I forgot how grindy it is. It's a super grindy game, but it's perfect for a mobile device because it's all mission based and stuff. So. It's a fun game. I've been playing through Xenogears, or I've been crawling through Xenogears.
I've never heard of it.
Xenogears is the best game ever. So, yep.
Is it better than Metal Gear Solid 3?
Yep.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it your favorite game of all time?
Yeah, it's my favorite game of all time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I always thought Metal Gear. I thought. It's the one. It's got the
it trumps all of them, man. Metal Gear Solid 1 is right below it.
Very good. Xenogears is your Earthbound.
Yeah, it changed a lot when I first played it. I'm like, what is this? Because it's such a ridiculous it's a ridiculous game. I love that.
Yeah, it's like me with Earthbound being my favorite game of all time. It's just it's this ridiculous game. I understand why some people
it's super flawed. Yeah,
it's very flawed.
Xenogears is almost the epitome of a flawed, but genuinely unique experience. Because that game has so many problems, but I freaking love that game.
I've never gotten to play through Xenogears before. I've never actually owned a copy. I've just watched my friend play through a bunch of it, and it's super awesome because it's basically this million-hour epic RPG that basically splits between ground battles where with your characters that do like martial arts, right?
Yeah.
And then it switches into like mech battles, and it's all turn-based. But it's when I remember thinking it was like the coolest fucking game I've ever seen.
And you can switch like mid-battle too. Like if you're in the middle of a battle, ground battle on foot, you can just be like, you know what? I feel like calling my gear, and you just go boop, call gear, and then like this giant robot crashes down next to you, and you jump in it, and now you're fighting in your giant.
I still remember the main character's name because it's such a cool name.
Fei Fong Wong.
Fei Long, right?
Fei Fong Wong.
Fei Fong Wong. Is that his middle name? Does he have a middle name?
Fei Fong Wong. I don't know how Chinese names work.
I thought it was just Fei Long.
No, Fei Long is a character in Street Fighter. He's the guy who looks like...
I'm getting it mixed up. It's very similar in name.
Yeah, Fei Fong Wong is his name, which is an inversion of... There's a Chinese folk hero called Fei Wong Fong, and it's like a play on Fei Wong Fong.
And then who's the other who's the overpowered guy? I remember I'm looking at you with like these fragmented pieces of memory that I'm sure you're like gonna put together like a fucking perfect mosaic. But there's a second character you get, and I remember he's super overpowered, and he's got a sword.
Satan with the glasses.
Yeah.
Yes, he's my favorite character.
In my head, he was always Saban, but that's Final Fantasy VI.
That's Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah. The dude with the glasses, and he has a samurai sword. I was
he is OP.
I was like, who has a samurai sword and wears glasses? That's crazy.
And wears like a green Chinese
kimono. like a
kimono. Martial arts.
It's not a kimono.
It's some type of martial arts garb. Comment below. But yeah, I mean, I'm still going through my Metal Gear series, and once I'm finished with that, I'm gonna be starting on a Xenogears series. So I know there of Xenogears fans, there's literally dozens of us. So
there's a lot.
We're super hardcore. Like we stick together like
Xenogears. Xenosaga and Xenoblade are all part of the same universe?
No.
Or are they not?
No. It's a long story, but basically
are they kind of related?
Only in like they sometimes share themes, they sometimes share character names. It's like Final Fantasy. Basically like the creator or the creators, they couldn't get any of the rights from Gears from Square. They left. I'm not sure why they left Squaresoft at this time, but I mean they don't have any rights to Xenogears, so they kind of tried to make like a spiritual prequel with Saga.
But Xenosaga and Xenoblade are related.
No, none of them are related.
Well,
except for Blade 1 and 2 are. I don't know. I stopped really caring about the series.
In Xenoblade 2, you actually get Cosmos as Blade. Cosmos from Saga.
Yeah,
but you actually get her as a character in the game.
Yeah, that's just
just an Easter egg.
That's just fan service.
Yeah. So, but they do. That's what I'm saying. So it's not just a coincidence that they all have the same prefix. Like, it is still somewhat kind of.
It's like Final Fantasy, or like they have reoccurring character names like Sid, or reoccurring
that's what I'm saying. But Final Fantasies are all called Final Fantasy. So you say, oh, they're all Final Fantasies. That's what I'm asking. Like, are these still spiritual successors?
Yeah, they're like
connected.
They're spiritual siblings. Yeah.
Okay. Spiritual siblings. I like that. Okay, so that's why I've always been so curious because I'm like, none of these games look anything alike. The art styles are all completely different.
Always different.
They're totally fucking different. They're all on different consoles, but like for some reason, the Xeno prefix always catches me, and I'm like, but these have to be related somehow.
It's sad because it was never planned to be like that. Like Xenogears was supposed to be. We talked about Lucas earlier. Like Xenogears that came out was like episode 5 of like a 6-part epic 15,000-year saga. This goes to show you how ambitious they were.
Xenosaga tried to do the episode 1, 2, and 3 thing.
Exactly. They lost rights to it, so they're like, we'll do a spiritual prequel. We can't use any of the specific names, but whatever. We'll try to do something.
We'll make a really convoluted plot even harder to understand.
Yeah. And they tried, but like they originally planned like 6 parts for that, but that didn't fall. That fell through, and after that, I think Takahashi just kind of like, I give up. I'm trying to make like a cohesive like thing. He's just like, I'm just going to make the next one just its own thing.
I see why Xenogears and then Xenosaga makes sense because they wanted to make a prequel, but they didn't have the rights. I get that. Yeah. What I don't understand is Xenoblade, just straight up Nintendo. Because you had these games that were PlayStation only. They were Sony. They were story heavy things, and then they switched to Nintendo and they call it Xenoblade. And that's what I'm wondering. Where that jump? Is it the same creative director or something?
Okay. Yeah. Once they left SquareSoft, they started their own company, Monolith Soft, I think.
Monolith Soft. Yeah. They actually helped with Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, they've helped on. I think they helped on the new Animal Crossing too.
They're like amazing.
They're a really good support
developers.
team. Yeah. If anything, they're really good at like being a support team because
I am. So Xenoblade 1 is one of my favorite games of all time. I absolutely adore that game, and it's getting that remaster on May 29th. And I am super excited about it because the only thing
they're going to make me buy it the 3rd time.
yeah, same. I've bought it 3 times. Because 3D, Wii, 3DS, and now so Switch, and then but see. I actually really liked the first one better than the second. The second one was good. It just
I got 20 hours in, and I'm like, this is not for me.
I don't like how they overcomplicated the battle system. The characters were not as immediately likable. They were fine. They were good enough, but the story does end up.
There's only enough There's only enough anime waifus I can handle in a single game. And I got to the point where, like, I don't, like, it's just a personal preference. Like, there's a degree of, like, anime style that, like, I can take before I'm just like, okay, this is not aimed at me as an audience. Mm-hmm. And I'm just getting bored. These characters aren't interesting. Like,
it's a really good RPG. My biggest qualm with Xenoblade 2 was the fact that they would have like quest markers. The side quests were horrible. It was some of the worst side quests I've ever seen in a game. And they also would have quest markers for your main thing, but they wouldn't account for like
elevation.
So you'd be like, where is this thing? And instead of just adding like a down arrow or an up arrow to your objective marker, it was just like, it's right here.
Halo had that. I've been playing Xenogears. Xenogears is the high water mark. Everything else after that just degraded in quality for me. Because it was always such a super like narrative focus. I mean, Xenogears is basically just like a novel that you play every once in a while. Honestly,
I remember there's a part in Xenogears, and maybe this is not the same game. And like I said, I watched my friend play through this game back when I was in middle school. So, I don't know. But like, there's this part where you talk to this character. Is a boss battle, and right before the boss battle, you talk to this. You have the longest conversation, and it's like so long, it's like ridiculous. And then you fight the boss. But if you died in the boss fight, you have to talk to this guy again, and you can't skip it.
Nope.
That's in it, right? That's Xenogears.
I mean, that happens
in a lot of things.
A lot of older JRPGs.
If I remembered correctly, you're like at a computer terminal or something like that. It's almost like in a tower, and there's like a computer terminal, and there's this long conversation, and then there's this
tower,
big boss fight. Yeah.
Do you remember there being like a big mirror on the outside?
Yep. Yeah, I do remember that. Okay.
Tower Babel.
Yeah. So you talk this long conversation. It's a very impactful fight. Obviously, it's a very big boss fight, but like it's just this long thing, and then if you die, you have to go through the whole thing again. And then like my friend kept dying, and he got so fucking mad. He was like, "I don't want to watch this fucking scene again."
I just want to.
Modern conveniences. So,
really, it's very true.
what else is you playing? Just the Xenogears and the Crisis Core?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's a solid. If you were to be playing just 2 games right now, that is solid. Most people just play 1 game. I have found.
Yeah, I have to balance at least.
Dude,
I have to have a main. I have to have a main one and then one to kind of jump on. That's why Crisis Core works so well because it's mission based. I can, if I'm sick of reading Xenogears, I can just like kill a few monsters and read Xenogears. It's like you can tell like the way what I like, what video games I like, because you say I'm reading Xenogears and you say I'm watching Metal Gear. Basically, yeah. I like movies more than I like games, and I like my movies to be more like literary. I like to be passive. Just let the game happen to me.
Just let it happen. I sort of disagree with that. I actually like games.
You can't disagree with me.
This
is my opinion.
So that sort of moves us to the main topic of the show, which is talking about remakes, which we've already done a little bit of, and we're running a little short on time, but we'll jump on it real quick.
Yeah.
What's the topic, Ensemble? Meatball?
Well, we're just gonna talk about just remakes. Because people online they constantly conflate the terms remakes and remasters and reimaginings and this, that. We're just going to talk about remakes and some of our favorite remakes, our least favorite remakes, and have a little wish list of remakes. So, like, what specifically differentiates for you the difference between a remake and a remaster? Because it sounds like it should be like a pretty thick line, but sometimes it gets a little fuzzy,
Yeah. So I think a perfect example is the new Xenoblade remake. Remaster, whatever that's coming to Switch.
You just said whatever. Which one is it?
So it is a remaster. I will follow.
It's a remaster.
It's a remaster side, but they've even shown how the character models are actually like they've added 3D assets to their clothing and stuff. Stuff that was like all just 2D.
That's still a remaster to me.
I mean, absolutely, but like they've completely changed some sort of aspects, and then of course the end they've added whole.
They added an epilogue
of the game. Yeah, they added an epilogue. They like changed some of it is a remaster. But to me, what makes a remaster versus a remake, or vice versa, is a remake is something that in basically to me it's as long as if you're not using the original code of the game, you're not using the actual assets, you're starting from scratch. To me, that's a remake because you were literally remaking that game. You are starting from scratch, and I think the perfect example of that is Shadow of the Colossus, which is the actual remake because that was already remastered. So that was one of those games that was like remastered and then remade. And you can look at it, you can see like they from the ground up they remade that game, even though it's so lovingly remade that you would almost think that it was.
Yeah, it seems like it's like
heavy.
It's like that. It's like that phenomenon when you see, like with Final Fantasy VII, like when we played the remake. I don't know about you, but when I played remake, when they recreated some of those classic scenes, like my brain was like, this is what my 14-year-old, 13-year-old brain. This is what I thought I saw in 1997.
Like fighting Abzu under the throne, right? Like that in my head that was like, no, this is like basically what it was like. But
when you go back to 7 and you're like, what the hell?
So to me, I think the quintessential remake is like Shadow of Colossus. I think the Resident Evils are a really good example. Resident Evil 2 specifically, better than 3, was a really great remake. Well,
let's but before we get into our like favorites and worst of the remakes,
I hate all games.
Why do I even have you on here? It's just the Meatball Show
with sex relief.
So I know we're kind of in like a modern age of remakes right now. Like remakes are freaking everywhere. Like everywhere. And most of them. Oh, hey, remake, how's it going? Most of them are pretty solid quality too. They've gotten to the point where like they know that they can't get away with just banking on a name. That I think like one thing I thought about that's pretty dope, bro. Dreams.
Yeah, the game. Yeah,
Like,
the people are remaking.
It's just a crazy amount of like. You can tell that like that's the zeitgeist moment right now, because that's the whole thing about Dreams, right? It's just like whatever people want they can make, and what's on everyone's mind is to remake things from their past.
Ocarina of Time, Metal
you know what I mean?
There's
and
like tons of that in there.
And like if someone's good at it, they can make it look like better than like a AAA.
I actually I have Dreams, and I played.
Tell me about your Dreams.
I have Dreams. It's such a weird thing to talk about. It's like I feel like in a lot of ways, Dreams.
I have Dreams sometimes.
For those that don't know, Dreams is a video game released on PS4 earlier this year that was basically a creator kit for basically make your own fucking.
Yeah, it's like Little Big Planet on freaking steroids and
acid and crack and speed and food. So yeah, you just make your own game. It has these creator tools, but if you don't want to make games, you can also go to a creator section and see just like all these other games that have been made. I recently played one that was just a Mario game, and it was so good. Like Mario looked, I mean, because I've never seen Mario in 4K. You know what I mean? Like it was
it's just surreal, right?
It was like, whoa, he looks so good. And this game's only been out for a few months, and the stuff that people have done, and I'm so excited to see what people are going to do in Dreams.
It's just like
3 years from now.
It's just super indicative that it's being used primarily to create remakes or like re-envisionments, and that's also like a main marketing driving force right now. It's just remakes, reimaginings, remasters.
And it goes to say that nostalgia is one of the true great human weaknesses, second only to the.
And I don't even know if it really is a weakness, because like you're like with Dreams, they're giving the consumers the toolkit. You know what I mean? Like they're not. It's not like.
Did you pay $60 for Final Fantasy VII Remake?
No. What I'm saying is.
Hold on. Did you or did you not?
Yes, of course I did. But what I'm saying is
weakness.
No, what I'm saying is that yes, they can cater to us. Yes, they can take advantage of our nostalgia. But how much is Dreams? Like $40, $30?
$40, I think.
$40. They're giving you a toolkit to make anything you want, and the people have spoken. Like they're not being forced to want remakes. Like they're gonna make their own damn remakes if they're not, like, you know what I mean? Like this is what people want.
but see, that's the problem with something like Dreams, right? Is we're also in that time where people just want something now, and they don't want to make it, they don't want to work for it, they just want it, and that's me. So
you want to wait 5 years for the next one?
I don't want to I can't remake Ocarina of Time or.
Well, that's why Dreams works, because someone else would do it.
Exactly. That's why it's so good, because you have both sides. You can play it or you can create it, just like Mario Maker. So yeah, I mean, that to me is what I mean. What is a remake to you? What do you
remakes? Think? See, that's because.
I mean, would you agree that it's not, just as long as you're building it from the ground up?
It doesn't have to be from. It doesn't have to be from like ground zero remake. It doesn't have to be from ground zero for me. I'm a little more lenient. Like it has to be for me.
Lenient, everyone. Let's put a cap back.
Bendy. I'm more of like if the experience, it's not just visual. It's not just a visual like higher fidelity, but like if the experience feels more complete, if there's more content that is a positive, and any kind of like problems with game design or mechanical things with the prior ones are all fixed. Like for me, like.
But you're talking of it on a positive level. That's not necessarily always the case.
Well, no. But
as long as things are fixed, it's a remake to you. But if they're not fixed,
because this is where I differentiate between a remake and a proper remake, and a remaster and a proper remaster. Because you can market something as a remake, and that's all it is just in name. But that's not like a proper remake. That's just kind of just. I'm speaking like a proper. For me, a proper remake is
okay. So like a favorable remake is favorable. What am I saying? Favorable.
Just a proper remake. Like a proper remake is a remake to me. If it's not a proper remake, it's just a failed experiment. It's just a failed attempt.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in its nature, it has to be positive. Because if it's not positive,
can be applied to just like definitive editions or remasters.
See, that's what I mean. Like it's a thin line. It's a more thin line for me, because like, for instance, if they would release Final Fantasy VII, the original, with all new character models, all new background art, like super HD, with all like perfectly translated dialogue, everything was fixed, everything, that to me would be a proper remake.
Right. But what if, I mean, what you described earlier was, you just said like it's basically something that, as long as everything's fixed and everything looks nice and everything's this and that.
No. It's not just a matter of fixed. It's a matter of everything that was broken is fixed, and they have to add something that brings something new to the experience. Like it has to feel like a complete experience. So yeah, like in a definitive, like.
So that's what I keep thinking. That's why I brought up Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah.
Because that's not a remake at all. That's just a a definitive edition for all intents and purposes. But or Dragon Quest 11.
That's why this is highly subjective, because like it's up to the person. Like if they change enough stuff for that person, it crosses from a definitive edition remaster into remake territory.
But see, in this way, it's not; those aren't even remasters, because like Dragon Quest 11, the definitive edition is on the Switch because they made an exclusive deal for Nintendo. So they made hundreds and hundreds of changes that make the game better, but the graphics are not as good as they were on PS4.
But graphics don't like.
That's what I'm saying. But
then, as long as it doesn't hinder the experience, it's still positive.
In a lot of ways, like a remake is, if the graphics are, it's a degraded. Why am I talking weird?
Yeah, but just because something is degraded doesn't mean that it has to be a negative quality. Because like it looked fine on the Switch. Like
I mean, so what you're saying is technically so, because like Xenoblade Chronicles 1 on the 3DS is a remaster, even though the graphics are worse.
They didn't add anything to it.
Did they not add anything? I thought they did.
They didn't add anything. Now this new definitive edition, I haven't played it, but like if this epilogue like adds some new cool stuff, and like they like fixed up every problem that I had with it, I might call it a remake or just a definitive version. I don't know. For me, there's a thin line between, like I said, like the Final Fantasy 7 or like 6. If they put out like Final Fantasy 6 with like just like kept all the original sprites, but like put them through just some like amazing cleanup, which just made them just like, they came out with like the perfect translation, perfect sounding music, that would be like a proper remake for me.
Yeah,
that wouldn't be a port.
I could see if they used the technique they used in Trials of Mana. It's so strange right now, right? Because I'm playing almost like 4 different
types of
things are remakes, right? So I'm playing like a definitive edition. I'm playing a faithful remake in Trials of Mana. I'm playing a completely batshit fucking world remake of Final Fantasy 7. And then I'm playing Resident Evil 3, which is a remake that changes a whole lot, but also adds some things, takes some things away, and is a very also different remake. It's so fucking weird, and that's why I say Shadow of the Colossus, in my opinion, sounds
like it, because it sounds like it's it's all subjective, because like
it is. I mean, I still stand by the fact that if you're not adding like new assets or building new assets for a game, it's still
for me it's not about the assets. For me it's about content. Like,
but see, content still
assets are nice.
A remaster.
No, I'm talking
remastering it.
No, I'm like content as in like adding, like for like the Chrono Trigger DS version.
Is that a remake to you?
They added a lot of new content, like new dungeons, new dialogue, new music,
the question.
Yes, that is a proper remake for me because they added that. To me, that is a remake because they added new dialogue, new translation, new content, new dungeons, new music. Like that to me, and then new anime cutscenes. Yes, they were taken from the PlayStation 1 version, but like for me, that is like the proper way, the best way to play Chrono Trigger. Therefore, it is a proper remake.
I agree. It's the best. It's still to this day the best way to play Chrono Trigger.
That's right.
And you know,
so good.
I'll never dispute that. But
there you go, boy.
I like to just like pull shit off my shelf to show. And what happened? I'm not a fake.
Oh, you mean this?
But so I won't dispute that it's not the best way to play it, but I absolutely don't think it's a remake. I think it's a port that just added stuff. Or at the very best, I think it's a remastering of the game because all they did was take.
But remastered to me, remastered just means they took vanilla, moved it over to here, and shined it up. But that's not what they did. They added, like I said, new content, new music, new dungeons, new cutscenes, new dialogue. Like it's not just a shiny port. Like,
but see, yeah, but see to me a remake is
ground up.
Yeah, it's ground up. I know I said that, but like in a lot of ways, to me, I think it's the visuals that most represent a remake to me, not new content, because I think you can go back and add new content and just be a definitive edition or a Game of the Year edition or whatever. But that doesn't mean it's a remake because the main content, the vanilla content, is still the exact same.
Yeah, but I'm looking like aggregate as a whole. It's a whole new experience.
Okay, I see where you're coming from.
That's where it's not black or white because it's like it's up to each person.
It's
like
purple, y'all.
If they add enough changes that it feels like a new complete experience, then to me that's a remake. If it's a new experience that's positive, it's a proper remake. Now that could be like visuals. For me, that's not as important, but
it's not as important. But for me, it's more like
it's
more
like
me that they actually changed.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I get
like
that.
Where it's like, oh, you're not actually using the same original code. You're not actually using the same.
But that's just like under the engine, though. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
That's so okay. Real quick, I do have to go very soon. But
let's go through our best, worst, and wish.
So yeah, what is your? We'll rattle it off. We'll do a best and then a worst, and then a best and then a worst.
Are we gonna alternate?
Yeah. So we're gonna do your favorite, your number 5 remake of all time.
Well, they're not in any order, so I'm just gonna rattle.
Okay, you're whatever. What's a good?
We talked about it earlier. The Final Fantasy IV DS remake. I love it. I love it. It added like. Great dialogue, such great all the new scenes they added are so good, and the music is great. It's New Game Plus. I love it. I love that game.
I'll hit you with a worst.
Oh dang! I don't have a lot of worst lists. I don't have a lot of worst on here, so we might share it.
Secret of Mana.
Oh, I've heard it was bad, but
bad.
Really?
And that's what I'm saying. Trials
is it just like mechanically bad, or
Trials of Mana is in no way a 9 or a 10 out of 10. It's very much like 7 or 8, but like it's still very enjoyable and net positive experience. Secret of Mana took it's so fucking bad. It's like the worst voice. And I know we were talking about earlier about how voice acting is it's these old games. It shouldn't blah blah blah. But here's the thing: is that voice acting shouldn't detract. It should be adequate, and that's fine. Which is what it is in Trials. And in Secret of Mana, it's so bad.
Can you at least turn it off?
I mean, how can Square Enix not afford a better? I mean, like, what the fuck?
You know why? Because they had originally came out on Android.
I could have voice acted that whole game by myself, and it would have sounded 1,000 times better.
We could both do it right now. Let's do it. Let's fix this game.
We need to help this little boy. He's about to fall.
But I pulled the sword out of the thing, and now the bad things are happening.
I found a magic sword. I guess I'll kill this rabbit.
100%.
Okay, so what's another good one? What's another positive one for you?
Metroid Zero Mission.
Oh, yeah, baby. On my list.
Metroid 1 remake.
Undisputedly just
Woo!
a brilliant
Talk about
fucking
taking a great game already, but it is dated, and just like creating a definitive experience of the first Metroid game. Just see, this is what we talked about earlier. Like, it looks better, but they could have made Zero Mission with the same graphics as the original, and it would have been like, but with all this new content and new gameplay, and it would still be just as good.
No, see, I disagree. I love, but then again, I love the graphics of the Advance era, that Game Boy Advance era. It's those visuals, those fucking pixelated visuals are so. All right, I'm gonna hit you with a bad one.
Ooh, give me a stinker.
Mario 64 for the 3DS, for the DS.
Really, I liked that remake.
You're controlling Mario 64 with a D-pad.
Yeah, that means it actually plays well because the 64 controller is garbage. I'm sorry. I'm one of the.
You're right. You're right, but it's a six-direction analog stick.
But the game still is more playable than playing it on a 64 on a TV, man.
I disagree.
Yeah, well, that's why we have this platform, to prove you're wrong.
What's a positive one? Hit me.
The first Resident Evil remake.
Or not Origins, but the GameCube. Yeah. I actually played that.
I'm not even a big Resident Evil fan, but like,
yeah.
Damn, that game is creepy as hell, and like, it's impressive, and it's impressive that it still holds up so well. Like, it's incredible how well it holds up.
Do you think they're ever going to remake the remake?
Yes, they will one day. I'm willing to bet money that they will. It's Capcom, so yes, they will.
Man, I'm trying to think. Fucking. What was another bad one? I can't remember. I had my. Oh, well. Yeah. Well, I'll hit you. What's another positive?
The Super Nintendo classic Mario All Stars.
Okay, yeah, that is a remake. I will give you that. That is
remade the first three plus the Japanese 2.
Arguably, possibly the first remake. I don't know.
Possibly.
So there's two that I don't know which one came first. There's Mega Man and the Wily Wars.
Yes, for Genesis. Yeah.
For Genesis, I think that might have come before.
I think that came first. Yeah.
So that officially was the first remake because it was Mega Man 1, 2, and 3.
Comment below.
I believe. Yeah, Mega Man 1, 2, and 3 was remade into a 16-bit system.
It was just not very good. I didn't like it.
Oh, dude! So I have it. I have it in the next room. I actually played it the other day, and I swear to God, like if you know me, I'm a Mega Man huge fan. I love Mega Man 2 and
I see a Mega Man right behind you.
Oh,
2 Mega Mans.
Oh my God.
3 Mega Mans.
Wait a second.
Holy jabroni! You really do have like 3,
Who's
4.
this guy?
It's the Blue Bomber. Hey,
guy?
why do they call him the Blue Bomber? He never bombs anything.
He doesn't bomb anybody.
Yeah, he just shoots and jumps.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a Mega Man fan. So, anyways,
you're a Mega fan?
Throw this garbage in the trash. So, anyways, yeah, no, I was playing it the other day, and the controls on that game are garbage. Like in Mega Man 2, there's the classic stage, the Airman stage, right? It has amazing music. And if you know, it has, you know, that game's built off of pixel perfect platforming, and if you have a Genesis controller, that game controls like a pile of garbage.
Well, Genesis controllers just suck in the first place with the freaking.
The D-pad is the D-pad and the buttons have such a deep fucking press.
Yeah, and the D-pad isn't segmented; it's on this disc. It's terrible. I hate
because Nintendo patented the plus.
They did. They patented the freaking D-pad.
So, anyways.
And the music isn't as good.
So yeah, I'll give you a stinker. Wily Wars.
Nice. Wily Wars. Very, very good. Another good one for me. The most recent Link's Awakening remake.
Oh.
It's so fun.
That's on my list.
It was short but sweet, and just like it's brought back so many good memories. It wasn't perfect, but my gosh, it was just like a treat.
It was such a wonderful, that I think would probably be on my list as well, of examples of just really good remakes that change the whole the world. It changed it to being this more vibrant and toy box kind of feel, but still retained that weird creepiness of the original, that weirdness, and almost even amplified it because of the beady eyes and stuff were so almost creepier this time around. And it was like, no, I loved Link's Awakening. I still don't think Link's Awakening remake got enough love.
No.
I don't think it sold enough. I think people didn't know what it was, which is surprising because after Breath of the Wild, you think anybody would have been like, Zelda, what?
Zelda.
I don't care. It's on the Switch. The Switch is selling like crazy. Like,
it was probably the art style, honestly.
Yeah. Because they looked at it and they said, this doesn't look like Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is super cool and it's behind your back and you're floating through the mountains.
They look like toys. I will say that I do consider the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Maybe not Majora's Mask because I never played that one on 3DS, but the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time, I consider that one a remake.
I do as well because
the controls just make it a whole new, better. Like I don't know. I'm just like,
did they?
This is it.
I feel like they did use original assets on that one.
Oh yeah,
I'm not sure.
I mean, technically it is a remaster, but I feel like they added enough stuff that I'm like, this is a whole new game for me. See, that's it's more of a gut feeling. If I feel like it's a whole, if I feel like it's a whole new game, then it's a remake for me. Like, I just go with my gut.
Yeah, that's one for me. That's like it's on that weird margin where it's like, I don't know, but yeah, I agree. I think I lean further on the side that it is a remake because it does feel like it was remade for the 3DS, and it's the best way to play that game today.
It's the best, dude. The gyroscope controllers, you can actually like play those mini games now.
Yeah, with the slingshot and stuff.
Yeah, like, you can actually play it like a normal game now. Got some good ones.
So on the best side, we have obviously Shadow of the Colossus, which I've already talked about a million times, so we won't go too long on this. But I mean, what do you do where you take a beloved game and it's that classic, like, how did you feel in 2004, 2005 when you played this game? And that's what they did. They took me straight back to that moment. I'm climbing this monster, but I'm playing in 4K, and the fur is like, you can see the fur. He's climbing. Wander just looks perfect. The horse looks great. The world, it just looks so alive and dead at the same time, because that's kind of what they're going for.
Yeah.
The way they still kept the little lizard tails and the fruit and all that weird extra shit in there that they don't ever explain to you. That game, flavor. It's still, in my opinion, just a master fucking piece. Another thing I'll bring up is the Ratchet and Clank games. The Ratchet and Clank game, the remake of the original, which also doesn't get enough love or support.
I never got into those games, so
no, I didn't. I didn't actually ever like Ratchet and Clank until I dabbled here and there. I played with each one like a little bit.
I always liked the design of the characters. I always thought they were cool.
Yeah, I played Crack in Time, Up Your Arsenal, Future something. I played them for a few hours, and then I was like, this one, because of the remake, because this is another definitive remake to me, because they took the original game's ideas, but they added games that are later down the line. They added all the upgrades that they added to those games, to the original, so you could upgrade your weapons. They added all the RPG elements and all that, but then they made the visuals look like you were playing a fucking Pixar movie. And it all equates to this like really amazing experience and a great game, fucking front and back. It does not get enough love. It's crazy that game doesn't get enough love.
Love it, people. Love it.
Another one that's hotly debated, like, is it a remake? Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver.
It's really, I always feel like that is always lauded as the remake.
It's a remake. I mean, it absolutely is a remake.
Yeah.
I think that's the perfect Pokemon game. I think it's I still personally, like, on my weird side, I still personally prefer red and blue and yellow.
We just started old nostalgia talking.
And then you have Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, which are remakes of.
Those are almost reimaginings. I feel like.
In a way, but see, then that's when you get to the conversation. Is Final Fantasy VII remake even a remake or a redo? It's absolutely a reimagining.
It's RE colon make.
And then Resident Evil, which is also those games are almost like reimaginings too.
Yeah, in a way.
Because
especially 2 and 3. I haven't played them, but they feel like those are more teetering on the reimagining than
so the GameCube remake is a remaster, or I mean a remake.
Yeah.
The 2 and 3 that have come out recently in the last couple of years are reimaginings. They're so far away from the original product.
They take some liberties.
Yeah, I mean, when you shift the perspective of the camera to, you know what I mean, like that's, so those are some good ones. You took ones that I had, Link's Awakening, Metroid, Zero Mission.
So good.
Those are some notable ones.
I have some stinkers. I don't know if you have any.
Give me your stinkers, buddy.
Don't
say what I think you're gonna say.
Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. Now, I don't hate it. The only reason I really put a lot of these on here, because honestly, I couldn't really find a lot that I hated.
Yeah,
it's just
most of the time when they're remaking a game, they're not going to make it worse. Like,
and they're not going to remake a bad game, so it's like already has a through line of a good game in it. It's the only Metal Gear game. If I'm playing through all the Metal Gear games, I never play it. Like, why would I play that if I have the original? It's just the audio quality. I hate the audio quality. They re-recorded all the dialogue. God bless David Hayter. He paid his own money to get all the audio recorded because the original masters were just in terrible shape. That's awesome, but the re-recorded dialogue sucks. I don't like the new music. The music for the original was like one of my favorite parts of that game. I love the freaking soundtrack of the original, and plus like They took the gameplay from Metal Gear Solid 2, which is great, but the original game wasn't designed for that type of gameplay. So it made the game superbly easy because you can just walk into a room that wasn't meant to be played in first person and just go bloop 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 bloop. Okay, everyone's gone.
Yeah, like, they did. I think for me that it was because of when it came out. Playing Metal Gear with the at the time, these upgraded graphics, and playing it on Nintendo.
Yeah, it was pretty surreal.
It was so cool, and I was just like, this is so cool. And I remember thinking, like, oh man, just like the cutscenes, like being...
I don't mind the ridiculous things. People always talk about, like, they're so, like, ridiculous. Like, it's like, really, dude, you're gonna complain about ridiculousness in a Metal Gear game. Just leave, okay? Your opinion does not matter here.
You just got done like fighting a fucking psychic dude who like read your memory cards.
You just defeated a tank.
Crazy.
You just defeated a tank with a grenade by yourself.
Yeah.
Suspend your disbelief for a second, there, buddy.
Just chill. Yeah, no, that's another. That's a definite like. There's the two camps, right? Like some people actually still like that game, and it still goes for a pretty penny. It's still kind of like you got to shell out like $45 to fucking buy that game. Yeah. But what else?
Another Metal Gear game, the NES, the original Japanese or the original North American remake of the original Japanese Metal Gear.
Okay,
the one we got with the remake.
A remake, even though we never got to play the original.
Yeah, it's crap. It's crap. Especially once you play the.
You're talking about Metal Gear NES.
For the NES.
Yeah. I
especially if you played the Japanese like MSX version, you're like, oh my gosh, we got robbed, man.
Yeah, I try to like that game. I really do.
The music is the only really good part of it.
And I always end up getting frustrated because the dogs and the guards and the bullshit. And then I always end up just sitting at the beginning of the stage listening to the intro.
This one is just really a technicality because I don't like the game at all. But Kingdom Hearts recoded. Not recoded. Chain of Memories.
Oh yeah, no.
I've never played the original, and I'm sure it's.
I hated the remaster, so I know I'd hate the original one.
It's just it's like I don't. The remake was so unfun for me that I never ever wanted to even look at the original. So I'm just like, just by default, this is just a bad game, and it happens to be a remake. So
that's it. That's one I didn't think about. That's definitely a remake. Yeah,
yeah,
that's funny.
You got some wish lists.
Yes. Give me Chrono anything, please. Please give me Chrono anything.
Dude, Chrono Trigger remake is like, that's some like tough ground. I don't even know if they want to like.
They'll never tackle it. But like
this is like dream
what I would
wish
kill
list
for is just give me what we got with Grandia 1 and 2. Give me Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross for the Switch in a double pack that are up-resed and have, you know, better, slightly better textures, better visuals. I don't even need it up-resed on Chrono Trigger. You know, that doesn't, because that's different, right? But like, give me a slightly better looking.
Basically, like a sharp 1080p res up of the DS version.
Yeah, and then a sharper, like less muddy textured version of Chrono Cross. Basically, the PC. Honestly, in a lot of ways, people really dog it, but for some reason, that PC port of Final Fantasy VII, the one that we pretty much got on the Switch, it looks good. I don't know why so many. I still think that game looks pretty good, like for a PS1 game, because the backgrounds aren't vibrating like they do on PS1. Like they're still. The character models still look good in and out of battle, because in my opinion, maybe it's just because I'm whatever, I have nostalgia for those blocky character models.
What are you? See, I'm more of a fan of the Grandia Xenogears look of having 3D setting with a
world
2D
with
sprite.
the sprites. Oh yeah, 100%.
I'm much more. I feel like that's just it just looks better to me. Like I rather it just be.
So on right before we get to your wish list, this is my number one. Okay, and this ties into a story we had earlier. So if Blue Point Games, right?
Yeah.
What is Robin like? You know, Metal Gear Solid, Shadow of the Colossus, Uncharted. Blue Point loves me. They know me. They love me.
I know them. They love me.
I know them. They love me. I'm terrific. They're terrific. So they said they're doing a reimagining of a game that's bigger, on a bigger level than Shadow of Colossus, and it's a PlayStation exclusive. And I'm sitting here going, my brain went into a wild place, and I went, what if they're doing? Because we already know that they're in association with they're not only in association with Naughty Dog, Konami, and the From Software peeps, but also Sony themselves. What if, because we've already done Metal Gear,
what if
we get a reimagining, remake, behind the back, Castlevania Symphony of the Night reimagining?
I mean,
so fucking cool, man. That's my wish list right there.
Yeah,
just like an ARPG where you're Alucard, and maybe they
really hard to do well.
If we're doing a wish list, let's go fucking crazy. They worked with Platinum to get the combat right, and so you're flying around. Maybe they worked with some of the team from 7 Remake, right? And you're kind of flying around. You're doing this combat system that looks dope as shit, and you're leveling up. And you open that you get the new weapons and all the new cloaks and all the new shit, and you just look dope as shit. Castlevania series is bigger than ever. Like season 3 was amazing, and it's huge. And how the hell don't we have a game? And
because
it's like
Konami. I don't know what Konami.
If they were to put out a Castlevania game right now, it would sell out buku bucks, because people are. It's bigger, arguably bigger now than it ever was.
It's the only IP that Konami has right now that is viable at all.
It's
the
huge
only
right
IP
now.
that's viable.
People are watching the anime series, playing the older games because they're like
people who didn't even play any of the games are watching the series and liking it. That should be like a red flag for Konami. Hey, you have a fan base waiting for you.
So if Blue Point's reimagined, it makes so much sense. If you really think about it, it also makes 0 sense, but it's fine. Just stick with me. But behind the back, Alucard, Castlevania, obviously Metroidvania style, because that's the game that literally invented. What people need to stop doing is saying Metroidvania. They need to start saying Symphony of the Night style game, because that's the game that created the Metroidvania. And Castlevania Symphony of the Night didn't.
Metroid did.
No, because a Metroidvania is not. See, this is common misconception. people keep saying that Metroidvanias are games that are Metroid games, where you just run through and you collect items and you upgrade your stuff and then you fight bosses.
Oh, that's
No,
not what I think
Metroid.
there.
That's just a Metroid game. That's not a Metroidvania. That's a Metroid game, because a Castlevania game with the Metroid elements is a game where you level up, you get loot, you know, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. That's a Metroidvania.
That's not my definition.
People have it wrong, because why not just, if it's just a Metroid game, then just say it's fucking Metroid. Just say it's a Metroid.
For me, it's more of a matter of game design. Like, if to me that's why I say Super Metroid started it, because for me a Metro, I don't like the moniker Metroidvania either.
No one does.
It gets confusing. But like, I feel like it started with maybe even the original Metroid, because for me it's because eventually Castlevania adopted it. But
in Simon's Quest.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Technically, Simon's Quest is.
But like the whole open exploring, you reach a point, you can't go past, explore, you get new items, you go back and you open, and it's just kind of like
right. And so, but that to me, that's where I don't understand I don't understand the comparison with the Vania, because at that point, just call it Metroid, a Metroid-like. Yeah. So to me, when they add the Vania on there, you're saying that the game has RPG elements. You're saying it was
but for me, I don't know.
Unless they're just,
for me, Castlevania it has never been synonymous with RPG elements, but that's just me.
But
you really love
Symphony of the Night, every GBA Castlevania, every DS Castlevania, those were all RPGs. There's literally 7 or 8 fucking RPG Castlevanias.
One's on the handheld Castlevanias are the best Castlevanias, hands down.
I mean, the best one is Symphony of the Night, though. It's like the best game of all time.
But just the quantity of
oh yeah, no, there's not a bad one. There's not a bad one.
They get a little too anime, but you know how I feel about that.
You're too anime. But yeah, so that's my wish. If Blue Point came out, I mean, it in my head, I'm doing the Charlie Day thing with all the things on the wall, and I'm like, Blue Point Games worked with Konami. They're announcing something that's bigger than anything they've done before. They did a Shadow of the Colossus remake. How could this be bigger than a Shadow of the Colossus remake? The only thing bigger than a Shadow of the Colossus remake would be a reimagining of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Oh my god, I'm getting behind the back out, Lucario. Oh, I'm gonna freak out and kill myself. All right, what is your wish list?
Well, I'm gonna just do 2. I do have a third runner-up though. This is just popped in my head. A reboot, remake, reimagining, whatever. Bring back Bushido Blade, please.
Okay, that's a
imagine, because I always loved the concept of the one-hit realistic samurai fighting game.
Have you played that Switch game One Strike?
Yeah, I downloaded it. It was like
$2. It's like Bushido Blade Light.
Yeah, it's pretty much like a fast pace. But that's what was great about Bushido Blade. You had to be slow and calculating, because you get hit once, and I don't know. That just popped in my head earlier today. I'm like, that'd be really cool if Square was just like, no Bushido Blade. People would be like, but yes, my 2 picks. Konami. This is another Konami. Konami, you know what? Take the Metal Gear series, reboot it. Start with Metal Gear 1 and 2. Make them one game. Do it from Big Boss's point of view. I don't care. Reimagine it. Whatever. That's what I want. Go crazy with it.
So you're saying they should remake Metal Gear?
Yeah, yeah. Just remake it all. I don't care. Just go through the whole series and just remake everything. Can't canon be damned. I don't care. Just
good.
I'm
down for it. Let's do it.
Yeah, just do it. All right, bye guys. And I will always say this is number 1. Xenogears. Because
of course,
because it was never finished. The second disc is literally the characters just sitting in chairs, looking at the camera and explaining what's happening. They ran out of time. Square was like, finish this game by this time, and they're like, we were too ambitious. So they're like, Square is like, you have to end it on a cliffhanger, and you might get a sequel one day. So the lead guy was basically made a what are the things called that 2 parties do? They make a deal. That basically, like, if you give us a little bit more resources, we can make a disc 2 that wraps up the story. That's basically just like the characters going, and then this happened, and then here's a cutscene, and then here's a boss fight, and then here's some more of what happened. So a complete, finished, definitive remake of Xenogears. That game would be like 200 hours long. And
that's why it's a wish list.
I wouldn't need to play any other game ever again.
Well,
it'd be like freaking James Joyce, the video game. Just be like this thick tome that no one could ever, only pretentious assholes pretend to understand. Like, it's right up my alley.
Nice. I would play it. I would. So basically, I have one more, and then we're gonna go. We got.
I also want a original Silent Hill 1 remake, please.
That's very possible. There's lots of rumors with the Konami's and the Sony's. We could see. We'll see.
I don't want Kojima on it though. Go make your own thing, Kojima. Okay.
I would love an Earthbound remake in the vein or sequel or whatever they want to do with the engine of Link's Awakening.
Ooh, dang, that's a good one.
Because it's already
Perfect.
an engine that exists.
Yeah, and the aesthetic fits.
It's a toy box. I mean, that's what they were going for.
That's like the
claymation toy box
eyes and stuff. Like,
yeah, it would look perfect.
Yeah, it would
I would love that so much. My balls would fall out of my sack, as they say. No one says that
on purpose.
Yeah, I would let them out.
They're like, bye.
Well, thanks everyone for watching the third episode of the Critical Beard Podcast Reboot Remake / Reimagining.
After this episode, we'll stop talking about remakes because we feel like we've been talking about remakes for the last 3 episodes.
Hey, it's a very pertinent topic.
Yeah, it's hot topic. Not the story.
Who are you, and where can people find you?
On the Cardinal and Meatball Show. That's literally all I exist in.
It's
right here.
This is the Meatball. I'm Cardinal. Thank you so much for staying to the end. We love you so much, and have a happy. What's the next holiday?
Mother's Day.
Have a happy Mother's Day. Go kiss
all you
moms
mothers out there. Go kiss your mothers.
Go kiss them in the face. They'll love it.
Weird.
And the Easter Bunny. But have a good one. See you next time.